So there's been about a year process where I've been loathing giving this speech, and I'm just gonna stare at Ben and Hala and just pretend that you all are there. So I looked on, like, I've been in denial about making this speech, and so I basically haven't been doing anything as far as prepping the speech. So about 2 days ago, I posted to Reddit, and it was something along the lines of like, help, all caps, exclamation point. I have to make a wedding speech, what do I do? I suck, or something like that. And then people said, well, you gotta tell like a story. And then so I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll tell a story. So I'm gonna tell a story now. So the story is the first time I realized that I was gonna have to do what I'm doing right now. And that is as follows. I was out to dinner with Ben and Jeremy. I'm pretty sure it was Jeremy, but he kind of denies it. But we were, Ben had been dating this girl for a little while, maybe like 6 months to a year. It was still kind of a fresh relationship. And then at one point, Ben turned to Jeremy and said, the subject had been brought up that of Hala and this girl that he'd been dating, and then so he turned to Jeremy and he said, I think I love her, and that was like a big deal. And he turned to Jeremy specifically because he knows that if he's not gonna get any kind of reaction out of me. Like I would just say that's interesting, something to the tune of that, and then. But I did start doing the calculation, and I realized, look, they're a really good couple, and if I were a betting man, I would say that at some point he's going to pop the question to her, and that means that they're going to have to have a wedding, and I'm going to have to give a speech. It's nothing short of a nightmare, and so. I kind of dealt with that in my own way. I started drinking more. I started. It was about a year of me really loathing this process that I'm going through right now. But they, as time went on, their relationship got even stronger. One thing that I thought was like a big deal was Hala was developing her own bits, which were surpassing Ben's bits in many ways. So for those of you who don't know, Ben is a man who prides himself in his bits. He will often call you after hanging out and say, what were some of the good bits last night? And he's had some great bits in the past. His bits have really taken a nosedive recently, but back in the past, he had, just to say one bit, which I probably shouldn't say at a wedding ceremony, is that every time Ben is in the company of friends and he feels the need to fart, he will not only fart, but he'll fart as loud as he possibly can, and then he will cry out in pain as if he'd just been kicked in the stomach. This is a bit that works on a number of levels because, all of Ben's friends have gotten plenty used to this bit, so they just completely ignore it, which is great because there's oftentimes one or two people who are in the presence of Ben doing this, and they are just shocked. All of a sudden, Ben will just there'll be a couple of people at Aroma Cafe, and then there's a table of 4, and then all of a sudden one of the people playing Settlers of Catan or something like that will say they'll just be talking about the game, and then all of a sudden it's just ooh, and then everyone ignores it. But I see a couple of heads turn, and I'm pretty sure that they are dead certain that there's been a serious medical condition that's happened. So that's a good bit. Ben's recent bits have been subpar, to say the least. I mean, you really got to step up the bit game. An example of Ben's recent bit, one of his recent bits has been Toby Nims. So Toby Nims, and I don't know, Deborah, if you know this person. It's apparently a neighbor of Ben's growing up. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Ben has said Toby Nims' name probably more times than his own wife has said his name in the past year. So he will like incorporate Toby Nims into all sorts of like games we're playing. He thinks this is really funny. It's kind of crazy. We'll be playing like Drawful, and then Drawful is like a Pictionary game, and you gotta like project you get a prompt, and then you do a drawing, and then it goes up on the TV, and then people guess what the prompt is, and then it's like, oh, it's a bunch of clouds, and then